Hey guys, King of Charmander here. Alright, so because I had a request, I'm going to summarize or give you a, deep analysis on, the data of the most popularly picked Mon in the top teams. So for this video, I'm basically going to summarize all this data, and we're going to see why these teams work together, or, why certain Pokemon are used the most, and why they're most popular. This has been requested for a little bit. Hey, can you look at the data and, put everything in one? So what I'm going to do is, for this video, I'm only going to analyze any team that has an above 500 rating. In other words, if you suck, you suck. So, well, I wouldn't say it sucks, but if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. So anything below the 500 threshold, I will analyze. So like I said, I compiled all that data. I'm going to put them in this video, and I'm going to give you an insight of what the most popular leads, switches, and closes are in the Go Battle League Great League. Let's get started. This is part 3, by the way, so this is this is subject to change, but this is part 3's data, so the latest data is being updated, is when I'm making a video. Alright, so here's a summary of all the lead data. As you see here, number 1 is not surprising. The Bear Trap, the Flip Flop, the Pancake, as what I like to call it, is Galarian Stunfisk, and it was in 5 teams, rightfully taking the place of number 1 because it is part of one of the most popular, one of the most common teams as well. So Gfist is just a really powerful lead, because the thing about Gfist is that Gfist beats a lot of these other leads you see here. In fact, it either beats or has a chance against all of them. Yes, Venusaur does beat Gfist. However, what Gfist can do is, if you Earthquake through shields, you can pretty much pressure the Venusaur, and you have choice of whether or not you want to Rock Slide it down, or just put heavy pressure on your opponent. So Gfist can be, Gfist can give you a hard time with Venusaur, or there's a lot of play with Venusaur. So Gfist is a beast. We all already know it, and it's not unusual for it to be the most common lead, or the most powerful lead in this list. Mew is here for number 2. It was in 4 teams as a lead, and this is not surprising as well. Mew has a ton of options, and a lot of what's happening nowadays is, well, I did this in the preseason, but people are just nuking through shields. So yeah, they pretty much what people are doing is using Wild Charge Surf or Flame Charge Grass Knot, or just another move along with either of those combinations, and just nuking through shields and causing a lot of problems. That's how powerful Mew is. Which, hopefully you have your Mew soon from the Kanto event, because it's really dang good. Bastion and Altaria were tied for number 3. I don't need to give an introduction to Altaria and they're tanks. Bastion smacks you down. Bastion beats a lot of things in a lead. Bastion can 2-shield its way through Mew, and it can 2-shield its way through Altaria and other flyers. Altaria, do I really need to say anything about Altaria? It's a powerful lead. If Altaria wins the lead, or what you can do is sack Altaria, because Dragon Breath is overpowered, you're just going to do a lot of damage. Venusaur ranks in dead last, well, not dead last, but the one that takes number 5 at the bottom spot is Venusaur with 2 teams. Venusaur is still a powerful lead, being able to take out Galarian Stunfisk, and it does threaten Mew. If they call your baits, or if they call your baits correctly, or if you can't Flame Charge or Overheat Venusaur, it can give Mew hard times. As you see here, a lot of these leads beat or have a combination of a chance against the ones at the bottom. Don't get me wrong, it doesn't mean those leads aren't powerful, but the others you will see, I saw as far as the data goes, is Tropius, Pelipper, Medicham, XL, Alolan Marowak, Talonflame, Diggersby XL, Swampert, DD, Abomasnow, and Hypno. It's not a surprise that Hypno fell off as far as a lead goes, as far as for the most powerful teams, just because, a lot of the back rows, a lot of people are targeting the double dark line, and there's a lot of Pokemon that can take them out, like Charmers and Fighters. But, as we see here, our Pancake does take the number 1 slot. And the winner is Galarian Stunfisk. I am not really surprised. Galarian Stunfisk doesn't need an introduction. The Bear Trap, the Flip Flop, the whatever you want to call it, the Pancake, and it is the metal color, the steel typing color. Yes, it is the G Stunfisk. He is a G, and he is tanky, he is bulky, or she, depending on which one you have. Yes, it can be both genders. It's very shield pressure heavy, so the thing, Galarian Stunfisk's ability to basically give you so much play, you can either choose to just run over your opponent, or you can deal heavy damage and just sack it completely. It takes out the Bastiodon, and it does it does really well against the Charm archetype, which is still really good today. Normally what will happen is Obstagoon double Charm. If you have a Gfist, your Gfist is really powerful. And it also allows you to basically essentially wall the flyers. So because it can wall flyers and it has such a strong matchup against Deoxys defense, because it resists all of Deoxys defense's charge moves, it's really freaking strong. And if Earthquake lands, it's a huge threat. Of course, there's no really, surprise to its moveset. The recommended moveset, obviously, Mudshot, Earthquake, and Rock Slide. It's such a it has, since Season 2, this thing has been terrorizing Go Battle League, and if you don't have a good one now, I suggest you get one because this should be your highest on your priority list. Unless they nerf Galarian Stunfisk, which isn't probably going to happen in the near future because they nerfed Registeel and then they brought Gfisk out, which was just freaking hilarious because everybody knew, including me, that it was going to be Registeel. If you played back in the day, Gfisk is Registeel 2.0. Alright, so for the save switches for part 3, as you see here, Azumarill was the most powerful save switch. Am I really surprised? I'm not going to go over the bunny because the bunny is just that powerful. It's thick. You have the option of using Ice Beam, Play Rough, and Hydro Pump. It's really good. I'll go over it on the next slide. Anyways, as you see, there was actually a lot of ties with this one. Number 2 and the number 3 slot were all tied. As you see here, Pelipper and Medicham XL were all tied for the save switch, was pretty nuts. So the thing about Medicham XL, the reason why it's such a good save switch is because if your opponent's rocking double dark, Medicham XL can do really well. Unless it's Sableye, then it kind of scares you because that shadow damage can chunk. But Medicham XL is a thick boy or a thick girl, depending which one you have, and it is able to deal a lot of damage with either Psychic, or you can Power Up Punch, rev up, and then just annihilate your opponent with all those +1s from pups. Pelipper is also very powerful. In my opinion, Pelipper is the most powerful save switch in this newer meta. You've probably seen it a lot. It's in the popular Gfist, Pelipper, and Venusaur/Tropius line. It's just that freaking good. The reason being is because Pelipper has a lot of coverage with Wing Attack. It outspams your opponents a lot with Weather Ball. It wins CMP a lot, and Hurricane is just a really powerful finishing move, which can actually one-shot a lot of bonds at certain range. In fact, Pelipper can beat a lot of the save switches you see around, it beats practically every other save switch here. It can beat Azu as long as you Hurricane through Shield. It can also beat Purified Sableye pretty comfortably as well. And it beats Medicham and Scrafty just because it's a flying type. But as you see here, Pelipper, in my opinion, is the most powerful save switch, but Azu, as you see, still hasn't changed. It's still really freaking good. Surfetch, Sableye, Purified Sableye, Politoed, and Scrafty all tied for position number 3. As you see here, the safe switch for the 3rd position is the Wild Wild West. Purified Sableye is good to return. Politoed spams. Scrafty is thick, and typing is really, really good. And Surfetch going Burbia to death, or it's versatile. So you can pick either Leaf Blade, or you can pick Night Slash, or you have a combination. So it's really good. It's a really powerful fighter. And of course the others, which not really, well, they're still really good, but as you see here, what I mentioned before, they're not as good as the ones from above. Before. We have Shiftry, we have Chestnut, Bastiodon, Deoxys Defense, and Talonflame. As you see here, the top number 1 and whoever tied for number 2, Azu, Medicham, and Pelipper are really freaking good. And of course, Azu is still king. And the winner of the save switch is definitely Azumarill. Technically, it's also Sableye. Sableye, if you take the data from the closer, it ties with Azumarill as 5. However, Azu is going Azu. Azu is very powerful. It's bulky. It has great coverage moves. It can be an XL, so you can actually get an XL Azumarill as well. And it has been somewhat readily available. So, well, somewhat, because there's a lot of events that allow you to get like Marill/Azumarill, etc. And it's just really freaking strong. Not really a surprise. Azu's been good since the preseason, and there's no real reason why I should go super in-depth into it, but it's just really good. As you see, the recommended moveset here is Play Rough and Hydro Pump. A lot of people are drawing away from Ice Beam. You could still use Ice Beam, I still see a lot there, but the reason why Play Rough and Hydro Pump is used so much in the top teams is because Play Rough allows you to essentially wipe out Sableye. It also lets you take out Umbreon, and it lets you win the mirror. Play Rough just has a lot of viability, and Hydro Pump is able to nuke a Galarian Stunfisk. It also does big damage if it lands against other things like Skarmory, etc. So with that threat of Hydro Pump and with the coverage of Play Rough, Azu is a beast and does really well in this Season 7 meta. Alright, now for the closer, which is the final position, which is usually the zero shields. However, the closer can also function as a safe switch, but generally I'm not gonna add or subtract with the second position because there's really no point, because like I said, you can still use it, you can kind of use it as like a dual safe switch or a double safe switch. That is a method. So I'm gonna put it in the closer, or just assume it's a closer. And of course, in the third slot of a team, Galarian Stunfisk is it's Gfist. Not gonna go into that. Anyways, we have Skarmory and Venusaur. So Skarmory is a powerful closer as well, mostly operating the Swamp Skarm core. However, the combination of Sky Attack and Brave Bird is just really, really strong, and it's been good for a very, very long time. So I'm not gonna go over that. Venusaur does have a rise in the closer. It's in one of the most popular teams, Gfist, Pelipper, and Venusaur in the back, and a good reason why. The reason why Venusaur is so good in the back is, one, it takes out the Charmers, it takes out the Fighters, your Frenzy Plant and Sludge Bomb do big damage if they land, and it puts a lot of pressure on your opponent. It also wins CMP a lot, so Venusaur is a freaking monster. That's why you've seen Venusaur rise so much in the past couple of weeks. Venusaur is a great generalist across the meta, and it does because of the amount of damage it does, it's not really surprising why it's there. Sableye also isn't surprising. Sableye can also function as a safe switch. However, if you return through shield, it's a monster. And if shields are down, return still does big damage. Now, the funny part is slot 4 actually tied for a bunch of different things. I think one of the things that's really interesting is Registeel. Registeel, you don't want to use Registeel in my opinion. Just use Gfist. I know Registeel is tempting. It was at one point my favorite closer and so powerful, but just use Gfist. However, the other things here, Bastion's not really a surprise. It's the tank. Shiftry's also pretty Shiftry's not popular, but it can still function well as a closer / safe switch. And of course, Umbreon going Umbreon. Seriously, it's the best tank in the game. Do you really need to explain more? And as far as other closers goes, you have Toxicroak, A9, Meganium, and Tropius. So, you still see a lot of Tropius, you still see Tropius out there. Meganium doesn't do bad as a closer. Or even it doesn't do bad as a closer as well. A9's going A9 with Weather Ball, and Toxicroak is a super powerful fighter because of the coverage you get with Sludge Bomb and Mud Bomb, yeah. So, it has a quick fast move, a quick charge move, it has counter, and of course, a very powerful covering Sludge Bomb. The stab move, Sludge Bomb. So that's why I'm not surprised Gfist does take the cake here. Gfist is the strongest in both the closer and the elite position, so it's pretty nuts. However, I'm not going to analyze Gfist for the next slide because I've already analyzed it in the lead. It's basically the same thing. Instead, I'm going to analyze, I would say Venusaur because it's one of the most popular ones. Alright, so for the closer, I can give you Skarmory. However, I decided to give you Venusaur because Venusaur is really interesting. Not only is it readable, not only do you should have one with Frenzy Plant because the Kanto intent is very recent, and Venusaur is kind of cheap. It's very cheap. Venusaur is a monster. It does a heavy amount of damage in a short amount of time. Of course, it sports Frenzy Plant, which all Community Day moves are just super overpowered. But the strength of Venusaur is actually in its typing. With Poison typing, you resist fighters. You also resist Charmers, and you also resist Grass types. You double resist Grass types actually. So it is very, very its tankiness comes in the power of its typing. So Grass and Poison is just such a powerful combination. And because Venusaur, like I said, because Venusaur does heavy damage with Frenzy Plant, a lot of times what happens is Venusaur can just run over your opponent in the closer. It also has a lot of attack, so because of that, Venusaur is just such a beast. And because of its typing, you're able to resist a lot of things, and it beats a lot of closing combinations. That's why Venusaur is so freaking good. If you play Venusaur well in the closer, it's going to absolutely annihilate your opponent. Again, it's easy to get, has a recent event from the Kanto event, so you should have one already, if not already, but Venusaur, it's also part of the most popular team in Gfist, Pelipper, and Gfist, Pelipper, and Venusaur. I almost forgot about Venusaur existed, but it's just so freaking good. I love Venusaur in the back, and Venusaur is also versatile in the lead just because of what it does for you, as I mentioned before. If you're using it now and you know it's good, either you already know why or now you know why. I hope this data really helps you guys out. As you see, I'll be doing these every time because I really think it's a good way to see the data, and this is a good little glimpse of how the Great League Remix is going to put out. Of course, for sure Galarian Stunfisk is going to be banned. There's no question about that. But I will be doing, like, when Great League Remix does come out, because that's coming soon, I will do content on that and start pumping out content. But I really think this is a good look of the meta as it is right now. Well, there is actually a lot of meta in Pokemon Go. It's just, you know, some things are more popular than others at some given moment. So, but things, as you see here, some things don't change, like Azu as a safe switch, Gfist in the lead or the closer. Some super metamons in Season 1, Season 2 still paved the way and are dominating to this day in Season 7. Another good example is probably Skarmory and, of course, the ever thick and powerful Umbreon. If you're using these in your team, it's not a surprising reason why, but these are all very powerful, and hopefully this analysis does help you out and let you see just like why are these so powerful in why are these Pokemon so powerful in some positions. If you still use these mons, they're great, they still work. If you're looking for something new, this analysis or this summary could possibly help you out and see why other top players are using these in the statistically most powerful teams, and they're doing super well. If you like more of this, please put it in the comments. Good luck in Go Battle League sets. If you haven't done so, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next video.